This is going to be fun. Been looking forward to this for months. Hello? All right. We on?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We on? Yeah. All right, here we go. That works. We on?
Oh my God. If I tell you what I did, you're gonna crack up.
You forget to turn it on?
No, so I was trying to go through the other app where I could stream on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time, but I gotta reconnect it. I guess I should have did it last night. I'm lazy.
It happens.
So I had that app already have access to the microphone. So while that app already has things to the microphone or whatever, it's fucking doesn't know to give it back
Oh,
to
okay.
YouTube. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
So I had to go close that out
Gotcha.
in order for us to be able to do that.
All right, guys. Welcome to our very first episode of Funnier in Person. My name's James Andrews, and this is my co-host.
I'm 34 and a half. I'm your favorite cousin from my auntie and uncle you ain't even know you had.
All right, guys. So here's what's going on today. This is our very first episode, so we decided that we were going to start with origin stories, talking about where we've been, where we've come from, and where we plan to go.
I'm trying to go to space.
That would be awesome, dude. I've been to space, but not the right way. Anyway, so let's see. Anyway, so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves, and I'm going to.
If I can interview you.
Yeah, right.
You can interview me.
Absolutely,
kind of
absolutely.
I mean?
We're going to bounce back and
You know
forth
what
off
I'm
each
saying?
other.
Like,
Yeah, that's
so
exactly.
I'll be who's a famous interviewer?
You're my Katie Couric.
I don't want to be a girl interview. I could have thought about Oprah. I would be Oprah. If
Oh,
I was
okay.
a girl interview, I would
Okay.
be Oprah. All right.
All right, you're not my Katie Couric. I thought that was funny. I'm sorry.
It is because you think I want to be Katie Couric.
Right. All right, you're my Tom Brokaw.
Right.
Old school.
I want to be Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Okay, let me see.
All right, so I'll start with you, actually. Or do you want to start with me?
It's like chess, right? You go first.
Oh, shit. White goes first? That's rude as hell. Okay, so here we go. All right, my name in real life is Andy Bogus.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't get to ask you the question.
All right.
I'm sitting here tonight with Andy Bogus, and also known as, his stage name is James Andrew. And we're going to get to know a lot more about this guy. You like my interview always?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It reminds me of a chick telemarketer with her not. No, I mean of like the nice voice that they put on when they call you.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So James, tell us a little bit about your origin and your childhood.
All right, so I was actually born in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Frankfort?
Yeah, Frankfort. That is actually the capital of the state of Kentucky.
Okay.
And a lot of people misthink it. There's an old joke about how do you pronounce the capital of Kentucky? Is it Louisville, Louisville? You know,
What it ain't? It's Frankfort.
It's Frankfurt. So people are so
They need to spell that better.
yeah, they're so stupid. Anyway, so I was born there. I lived there till I was 12. I grew up on the Kentucky River.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time packing our shit because we would get flooded out every 3 years or so.
Oh, good
and
job.
I'd have to go live with my grandmother. Let's see. At 12 years old, I moved to Lexington, Kentucky on the north end of town. I went to Bryan Station High School where I was not only bullied, I was made fun of, and I kind of...
Why did they bully you, if you don't mind? I'm not saying there's an excuse for bullying.
No. There is no excuse for bullying.
No,
But
none at all.
I got bullied a lot because of my intelligence.
Okay.
I got bullied a lot because of my size and my appearance.
You a big guy?
I've always been stout.
Well, that's a good way to put it.
You know,
I like that.
And
Stout.
I'm not little. Let's put it that way. So
Nobody ever called you?
no,
Not even ironically, like, that's tiny.
I've never been accused of missing a meal. So let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I mean, point in case, here is my large ham and cheese pizza that I ordered right before we went live. I had to have something for dinner tonight because I'm performing in Louisville.
Shout out to Louisville. If you live right now, you going to Louisville, go to Planet Tapes and fuck with mess with my guy Andrew. We can curse kind of thing, but yeah, but mess with my guy Andrew.
Anyway,
Andrews, go.
So yeah, I went to college at Eastern Kentucky University. I was a music education major. I dropped that because
some bars.
Oh no, I'm a tuba player, dude. There ain't no bars. No bars here.
Not that type of music. Can you beatbox?
No, I got kicked out of oral theory. It was that.
Oh, whoa!
It was that bad. I can't sing or nothing. No, not that type of. Well, kinda that type of.
You got,
anyway,
you got all. Look, we have all the oral theories you need, lady.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so I dropped out as a music education major because I didn't want to go to prison for choking somebody else's kid. Because when I started doing my teaching evaluations, I realized that teachers are handcuffed.
Yeah.
And I mean, administration takes away.
Until they literally handcuffed.
I mean, literally. I mean, there's so much going on in a school that, you know, you have to chill out, and I can't do that. I'm way too uptight for that shit.
Okay.
Let's see. What else going on?
So then, what made you keep going? What made you get into comedy? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here we go. No, I mean, I was just waiting to see what else you wanted to hear. What made me get into comedy? Well, that's kind of a messed up situation. I was a victim of a violent crime. I was stabbed 11 times.
That's usually what a lot of people's path into comedy.
Yeah, trauma's a big deal.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of people into it. But the local comedy club here in Lexington, Kentucky, Comedy Off Broadway.
Shout out to them.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, open mic there if you're watching.
Yep, and I'm on it. So that'd be a good time to come out and see me. But Comedy Off Broadway threw a benefit for me when I got stabbed because one of my friends who's a local headliner, he's no longer performing, but now he runs a company called On Tour Records, and he records comics and distributes their stuff off to SiriusXM and gets them plays on there. But he told me, you know, you've always been funny. I'd appreciate it if you come on stage, and thank everybody for coming. But after the stabbing incident, I had really bad PTSD, and I could not bring myself to the stage to actually go and thank everybody and not be able to see the exits. So PTSD is a crazy thing. It has many different forms. It manifests in many different ways. But I did agree to stand in the hallway where I could see the doors and shake everybody's hand and thank them for coming. Well, after that whole thing, Ross told me, he goes, man, you've always been funny. You should probably try to do this at some point. And I was like, man, if I ever get to the point where I can get on a stage, I will.
Just a little bit of backtrack. So you were, I know the story. They don't know. So that's what I'm asking.
Right.
So, but essentially, how'd you get involved in it? Was it through the cab driving type thing you were doing?
Yes, that's how I got involved in the altercation.
I know the altercation, but also because, like, what makes the comedy club throw a
benefit? Well, that's what I'm saying. My friend who was the headliner asked them to put that on for me.
But that was your connection,
and that was my connection. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. So he was like, "Yeah, we know a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy
who got robbed or whatever.
Right.
Attempted robbed.
Yeah.
But stabbed, and we should throw a benefit for him. He might need help.
Yeah, the family needs help to pay the bills.
Middle bill and all that. And then, so that's how you got. So then after that, you said you didn't go on stage that night.
Nope.
Did you start thinking, hey, maybe I should?
Well, about 3 months later, I was at a Walmart picking up my prescriptions, and I was surrounded by people, and I started to have a panic attack, and I went to my car, and I hyperventilated. And I was in the car for 20, 25 minutes just trying to get my bearings, get my breath, and get everything, back together to a point where I could function. So when we did that, I sat there and I made the decision that I was no longer going to live my life in fear. So I walked my happy ass back out into the Walmart. I picked up my prescriptions. I went home and I started looking at my life in a whole type view. And I remembered that Ross said I'd always been funny. So I called the comedy club, found out what I needed to do.
And I did my first 3 minutes at Comedy Off Broadway back in April of 2012.
Okay. This is one of my favorite things to ask people, like even when it's music or raps or whatever. What's one of your first jokes, if you could tell? Like maybe your first joke or one of the,
Oh man,
first one. But you know what I mean? But like, what's one of the first ones?
absolutely. I think the first thing that I had on stage, one of my very first jokes was I grew up poor. I grew up out in the country. We didn't have cable. So if I wanted to see anything cool on TV, we had to go over to friends' houses. So because if I was at home with Dad, it was always watching things like The Muppet Show or fucking Matlock or whatever.
To watch porn.
No, I mean I wasn't that old yet. I mean, but if I wanted to see something cool, I had to go to my buddy's house that had MTV and all that. And I grew up watching Beavis and Butthead.
I love that.
And one of the things I always said, it'd be interesting to, since they rebooted Beavis and Butthead here a few years back, it would be really cool if they would start making fun of real artists that are on the couch instead of just the Megadeth and the Anthrax and the Slaves.
Ice Spice.
Right. But my big thing is, what about if Beavis and Butthead sit down and watch a Lil Jon video?
Yeah.
I mean,
the ones they missed, you mean? Some of the ones they missed.
Also,
you kind of missed the whole generation of
right.
50 Cent. You missed
right. They missed all these other people. I thought it would be really cool if Lil Jon was on the TV and Beavis looked at Butthead and goes, hey, no, Butthead does that. Man, this is how long it's been since I've done this joke. So Butthead goes, hey, Beavis. This video really sucks. What? This video really sucks. So that was one of my very first.
I like that. You done showed so much time. You showed writing. You got your impressions right there.
Yeah.
Cultural reference. It's kind of timeless to a certain extent.
To a point, yeah. But yeah, that was one of the very first jokes I did, and I grew it out. I did that joke for 6 months, doing open mics, just doing it over and over again, and I started to lose my voice at a certain point. I wore my throat out. It was bad. Just doing the Beavis voice, though. I'd have to go to the bar and get a shot of whiskey just to make my throat feel better. Anyway, so what else you guys want to know?
How do we? All right. Well, I guess I'll do mine.
Yeah. So tell me where you grew up.
So I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens.
Okay.
In New York.
All right.
My dad started a family is Jamaican and Panamanian. My mother's African.
Okay.
African American. So they was star-crossed lovers. They like Romeo and Juliet at their time. They grew up on different sides. My dad's from the project. My mother's from like a more housing type, like house type area, where she had like a house with her family. And it was always beef. Like my dad said, when she went to go see my mother, he would get jumped. If she went to go see him, she would get jumped. It was always a problem. They couldn't go see. But they.
So which one was his dad?
My dad.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah.
What's that story?
They call the projects the Jets, right?
Yeah.
That's why my dad. I guess he's the Jet.
Okay.
So they got together. They had me. Growing up, I loved Eddie Murphy's Raw.
Oh my God, that's a timeless.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely timeless.
I used to grab a spoon. I remembered it, but it took one of my older cousins, to remind me, because from my mother's, like he's my cousin, but he's my mother's cousin. So I guess he's like my second cousin.
Mm-hmm.
One of my second cousins, older ones, they reminded me when they seen me start doing comedy that I used to do this. I used to take like a spoon and walk back and forth and do like in front of everybody and do like these dirty jokes that I had either heard from Eddie Murphy's Raw that I might have like looked up somewhere or in a book or something at the library, and I would just do that with a spoon. So it was like, but I went heavy into music at first. I wanted to be a rapper so bad.
I mean, we both had that parallel where we did music for a long time.
I think it's art.
It is. It absolutely is.
I have this thing in me and I want to create. I don't know. It seems, you know what I mean?
Still to this day, the biggest audience I've ever performed in front of was a music audience.
I cheated. So the biggest audience I performed of, it might have been music too. I had a really big comedy audience, but they wasn't there for me.
I get you.
It wasn't. I used to work with a guy in Charlotte when I first started doing comedy called Tone X. He knows Monique.
Oh wow.
I can say I opened up for Dion Cole.
Beyond the legend.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah, I think so.
So I performed on a show that he was hosting, and Dion Cole just showed up and performed after
Yep.
the opener of the show.
I mean, what do you really say? You got actual receipts
I opened
for
up,
opening the Beyond Cole.
even though
Right. I mean, that's like I was on the same show as Alex Raimondo, who is Ron White's opener. So I opened for Alex. Not really. It was a good open mic.
Yeah,
But I was there.
I was there. I did perform, and I got. But yeah, that was probably the biggest audience ever because it was like for comedy and. But I was doing my thing, mixtape here, rapping, making music. You know, I got a bunch of music online if you want to Google me or whatever. And then when I went to prison, I sold drugs, which is illegal. Don't do it.
Oh yeah, that's something else we have in common. Just glossed right over. The funny thing is, me and Brady have been talking about this podcast for a very long time. And when we finally decided to do it was when we were on the way back from
Evansville, Indiana, doing a couple open mics.
actually Andy Emily, who just said hey to everybody,
Was one of the hosts of the open mics that we were on. So when it came down to it, we decided to do this podcast. And since I ain't got nobody in my views right now, I'm going to take a bite of pizza. Because it's getting cold. Got pizza sauce on my mouth.
Kind of frozen.
Did it freeze?
Yeah, I don't know why.